Hi everyone, in this lecture I'm going to show you how to use the focus cell feature in Microsoft Excel, which is part of Microsoft 365. Now this is a real good feature and it basically enables you to tell Excel to highlight the row and column of the active cell or cells. So basically what I'm doing right now, and it will also thicken the border of your active cell or cells at the same time. So what this means is that you can click anywhere in your spreadsheet and you will get this highlighted intersection as well as your thickened border. Now this has an immense benefit of making your Excel spreadsheet much more easier to navigate and carry out tasks, especially when you've got large data sets. Okay, so how do you turn this feature on and off? Well, you can do it via the keyboard or via the mouse. To turn it on and off via the keyboard, you use the combination Alt and then WEF. So in this case, it's already on. So I'm going to switch it off by pressing Alt and then WEF. There. And then to turn it on again, you just use the same combination, Alt and then WEF. Now to change the color of the highlight, so that's the intersection of the row and the column, the keyboard shortcut is Alt and then WEC. There. And you can see this brings up a color palette and you can select the color you want. Now, another thing to note, folks, is that if you have the focus cell feature turned off and you want to change the color of the highlight via the keyboard, this will automatically turn it on. So just to show you what I mean, I'm just going to turn it off and then I'm going to change the color of the highlight to another color. Now, you will see that when I do change that color, it will turn it on. There. And as you can see, it turned on when I changed the color. Right. Now, to turn the focus cell feature on and off via the mouse, if you were starting from the home ribbon, you would go from home to view to show the subsection and then focus cell. Now, in this case, I've already got focus cell turned on. So there are two ways you can turn it on and off from this menu here. And that's the first one is to simply click here, which turns it off. Then if I click again, that will turn it on. And then the second way is if you click into the menu, you'll get focus cell again. And if you click on that, it will toggle it off and on. And similarly, to change the focus cell color, you simply go into this category here, focus cell color, and pick your selection. And again, folks, if focus cell is turned off and you're changing the color, it will turn it on as well in the process once you've changed your color. Okay, folks, and just a quick example to show you how focus cell can be used in terms of making it easier when navigating data sets. We've got an example data set here, and basically I've got 25 staff members here. Going across, we've got 14 areas, and this basically lists the sales per area by staff. Now, let's say I wanted to bold the following values. Area 4, staff member 7. Okay, so area 4, staff member 7, it's here. And to bold, I'll simply use the keyboard shortcut, Control and B. Then the next value I want is area 6, staff member 16. Okay, that's here. Right. Now, as you can see, I'm looking this up fairly quickly. However, I can make it easier in terms of navigating this data set by turning on the focus cell feature, which I'm going to do for the next two values. And hopefully you'll see that this is actually a bit more easier when you're going on the spreadsheet to navigate the items. Okay, so I've just turned it on using the keyboard shortcut. Right, now let's do the next two values. Area 12, staff member 8. Okay, 12, staff member 8, there. Okay, I'm going to bold that. And then the next one is area 4, staff member 20. There. So folks, as you can see, I was slightly more quicker in finding the values, but crucially, it's not just about being slightly more quicker, it's also about when you're actually looking at the value of the table, it's actually more clearer to read. So here you can see I've bolded the value, but if you imagine we've got hundreds of rows like this, and you're navigating a spreadsheet like this, then having the ability to see an intersection or a highlight of the cell that you're clicking on or the cells, you can see that the navigation is immensely improved. Thus, it's making it easier to work on your spreadsheet. Now, another thing, folks, just to bear in mind, when you do select more than one cell, your intersection or your highlight will be from the first cell only. So for example, if I wanted to highlight these values here, you can see that the intersection, it won't go across, it will just stay at the first cell that I clicked on. And similarly, if I go vertically, let's say I highlight these cells, you can see that our intersection is at the first cell that I clicked on. So that's just something to bear in mind. Okay, so that concludes this lecture. Thank you for listening and watching. We have seen how we can use the focus cell feature in Microsoft Excel. We have covered how to turn it on and off and change the color, both via the keyboard, shortcuts, and via the mouse. We've also demonstrated how useful it can be when navigating a dataset. Now, if there are any questions or queries, please feel free to reach out. And if you did enjoy watching this video, please consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you, and have a great day. Cheers.